YouTube finally makes me live. You know how it is when you're waiting, and I never really know when I'm going live. I don't know why it's like that. Good morning, my darling. I hope you are well. Welcome to my weekly check-in. Whether you're at home busy folding the laundry and trying to wrangle kids or sitting in the shower having a cry, please know that you're in the right place. This space here each week is for you in the hard moments and the devastating ones, and hopefully in some of the fun ones too. I want to welcome you here to my table. In this space and time, nothing's off the table. We can talk about anything you like, and I want you to just take this moment for you. I know for most women, we are just juggling a million things and trying to get stuff sorted. But 10-second check-in. Here we go. Whew, big breath. How are you going? How are you going this week? 0 to 10. 0, I am as good as gold. And 10, life is a bit of a bag of poop, actually, Debbie. So where are you? 0 to 10. Let me know in the comments. For me this week, another week of wobbliness. I would be, I think today and the second part of yesterday, I would have been probably about 2 or 3. I was quite happy and contented. But I can guarantee that on Monday, Tuesday, I was probably about a 9.5. It's been another one of those weeks. Yeah, you got to love that, don't you? Welcome, ladies. Nice to see some of you are number 1. That's fantastic to see. Some of you are up as a number 6. That's very high. But it's not a 10, which is very good. And yeah, it's a roller coaster for sure. I agree with you. It really is. Please do subscribe to my channel. You just hit the little subscribe button. You also find a little bell there too. And if you hit the bell, it tells you when I come live. So you can kind of have a chat with me about what's going on this week. So what has been going on this week for me? Well, I'm glad you asked. It is spring in gorgeous Australia. Like, it is spring. I don't like summer, girls. It's too hot. It makes me uncomfortable. I just don't like summer. It's just too hot. Too hot to be outside. Too hot to grow anything. Just too damn hot generally. And I love the other seasons. I love autumn. I love winter. And I love spring. It's spring. Spring is an exciting part of the year for me because spring is about growing all the things. And even though I can grow some things during winter, spring is kind of the special part, right? It's the perfect sweet spot of warm enough to grow stuff, but not too warm so everything gets cooked. So kind of perfect conditions. And of course, it's exciting. But, you know, before spring, I have to do a lot of prep. So, for example, I just planted out 200 plus ranunculus, one of the most beautiful flowers in the world, just saying. And like, I have to get the corms ready to go out in May. And I've just done a ton of pumpkin seed and sunflower seeds. I've got carnations growing in the garden. And of course, there's all the veg, right? The onions are growing, the carrots are growing, the greens are growing. So all of the food and all of the stuff that I have every year that I've got to prepare for in the right season. Like, you can't go greens in summer, not in Australia. So, of course, I've got all these gorgeous things that I've got in the ground. But you just don't know what's going to happen. Last year, I put all my corms in storage for the winter. I got them all out. I soaked them the way I was supposed to. I put them in a little bit of earth. I gave them a spritz of water every day, put them in a nice dark place, and all of them, bar one tray, molded over and died, which was devastating for me, ladies, because I love ranunculus. This year, I did the exact same thing. Every single one grew. Every single one that I put in the dirt grew, which is why I have over 200. I was trying to get some insurance this year. Have you ever done that? Trying to get a little bit of insurance to make sure that all your hard work doesn't go to waste. And I even planted seeds because there's some ranunculus that I want that we can't get corms for here in Australia. So all that planting, all that planning, you know, that new beginnings of spring, the reminder that, you know, you can do all the right things. You can get the right seeds. You can put them in the right ground. You can give them all the best conditions in the world. And for no apparent reason, they can just die or mold over or not sprout. That's another thing, right? They just don't come up. The garden teaches me about, you know, then going for control. The garden teaches me about preparing the soil, you know, go and get the best organic ingredients and put them in the ground. Go and make sure that you pull out all the weeds. Put the cardboard down, which I save all the cardboard to put down. Plant the seeds in the optimum conditions. Make sure they're warm and sunny, or they're cool with a little bit of shade. Do all the right things to make sure you're doing the right things. But in the end, gardening teaches me about letting go of control. It teaches me about you can do everything right, everything perfect, and still get no crop and still get nothing at the end of it. And what I've learned from the garden is you kind of have to value the process. You have to be willing every gardening year to just do the best you can and wait and see what Mother Nature has in store for you. Because some years she is very, very generous, and some years she's just not. um, I have two apple trees that have been waiting to go into the ground for this is year two. They've been in pots. Year two, they've been in pots, girls. And all I was trying to do is get them across the line, keep them alive long enough to get them into the ground because they need a permanent home. And I haven't had a permanent home for them because I'm doing up my house and trying to get my house sorted. And so there's no permanent home for the trees. And apples want to be in the ground. They don't want to be in a pot. But last year they stunned me. Last year, because they're in pots and I can't put them in the ground yet. I kind of threw them to a shady part of the garden going, I've just got to get them through this winter and hopefully this spring they'll go in the ground. Well, I went out to the far reaches of the bloody garden, didn't I? And there were 3 friggin' apples on the tree. They're the size of golf balls. They're the smallest apples I've ever seen in my life. But there's the apples on the tree. I'm like, you got to be kidding. I have neglected this bloody plant. And now it's given me fruit. And I guess that teaches me about just valuing the process. You know what I know about seeds? They want to grow. They want to grow. Like plants want to grow no matter what, in spite of everything sometimes. The process of me doing all the right things did not produce any apples, trust me. And yet I put them in a part of the garden and just forgot about them, neglected them really. And yet they just wanted to grow. And that teaches me about resilience because then I look and I go, gosh, we innately want to blossom and bloom. We humans, we do. We want to grow just like the seeds. We want to actually have rich and meaningful lives. We want the best. We want to blossom and produce fruit. I think all of us really, really want that. And so the garden teaches me a lot. The garden teaches me so much about life, about love, about resilience, about values, about understanding seasons and leaning into the seasons, because that's also something I've got to do. And if you girls gardeners, if you are, let me know in the comments. And welcome to some of the people I haven't seen for a while. Hi Manu, how are you, my darling? I hope you're well. And hello, Miss Kim. Kimmy, it's nice to see you, love. And of course, lots of regulars here. Hello, Sarah and Rachel and Judy and Ninny. Nice to see you, my darlings. And Mary's down there too. Hello, hello, hello. It's lovely to see you. Say hello to me in the comments. Of course, please do help me out with these videos. Like them, share them, comment on them. All that stuff helps me with YouTube because, it's an algorithm, which has nothing to do with gardening, just saying. Etilia, nice to see you, darling. And hello, Kate. So let me ask you some questions because, we're here to chat, aren't we? Hello, Kathy. I want to ask you some questions. When I do my gardening, I kind of go in knowing there'll be losses. I go in hoping. I go in wishing. The ranunculus was devastating last year, which is why I planted so many this year. But I also tried lots of new plants too, like asters, which I've never been able to grow. I still put seeds in the ground this year. Carnations, which I would never have grown. And I don't really like carnations, if I'm honest. But my daughter had this amazing idea at Christmas. She did one of those 24 days before Christmas calendars, right? But instead of giving me chocolate, which I certainly don't need, she gave me a packet of seeds every day. And one of them was carnations. And I thought, bugger, I'll put them in the ground. Seeds want to grow. We'll see what happens. So let's ask you, over to you. Let's see how you are with this stuff. If you could plant anything, and it doesn't have to be a flower or a fruit or a vegetable or anything, but if you could plant something in your life, what would you plant, even if it never ever bloomed, even if nothing came of it? I think for me, that's love. Love is something that I believe in with my whole heart. It's a value of mine, if you like. And For me, love is worth it. Even if you lose it, even if it doesn't blossom, love's one of those things that I just think you can't have too much of. You can't run out of. I think about how much love I've got inside of me to give to people, my partner, my kids. But I also have excess, like in my garden, too many cucumbers, too many zucchinis, too many ranunculus flowers. So what do? I give them away. I share them with people around me. I share them with my neighbors and my neighbors' kids and people who come across me in the street. You know, love for me is one of those things that I would plant even if it never ever blossomed. I listen to women who say to me sometimes, I'm never going to love again, or I'm never going to trust again. And I'm like, oh, please don't say that. It's worth it. It's worth it. It's worth trusting yourself and trusting in you and knowing that you have everything inside of you that you really bloody need. It's really good to believe in love because love is such a delicious thing. You can't go wrong when you love. It's not possible. I talk to my plants. I talk to them and I put the seed in the ground. I'm like, grow, grow, please grow. And so for me, that's important. Let's have a look what's going on. You love your garden, just getting ready for spring. I'm devastated that my dahlia tubers didn't make it through the winter in storage. Last year was my first year for growing dahlias. And Kim, I have dahlias and I would, I was talking about neglect. I neglect them and they just insist on growing. I grow them from seed. And the first year I saw them, I didn't think much of them. I was like, well, that's a bit pathetic. But then I really got to lean in. They're so beautiful. I know the pom-pom ones you're talking about, they get really big and have such a show of them. My dahlias are not like that. I think I have one or two like that, but the rest are all, they're smaller flowers, but gosh, they're beautiful and whimsical. I just love them. Yeah, Judy, unconditional love. Absolutely agree with you. Oh, the peonies. Now, Mary, I can't grow peonies. I've tried, and maybe that's something I'll try again. Maybe I'll try the peonies again. Kim, you'd love to plant love too. Yeah, and I think we can, Kim. I think the seeds of love are inside of all of us. And it's just about, do we want to go to the trouble of actually tending to that, watering it, giving it the right conditions, getting it out in the sun, sometimes protecting it from the weather, really looking after love and taking care of love and nurturing love to make sure that it does what it needs to do and to blossom. And I think it is important. I don't know what wisteria looks like, Kate. I've never seen wisteria. I've heard the word, but I don't know what it looks like. I have to have a look. Manu, but losing love hurts so much. It does, Manu. It does. It's a risk, like the garden. It's like the garden. You can plant the seeds. You can put them in perfect soil. You can make sure they're in the right position with enough sun or enough shade. You can tend to them and give them, really good water with lots of nutrition in them, and they can still die. There could be a day of extreme heat and they wither up and burn. There can be really strong winds, a cyclone that just rips them out of the ground. And I think love is a bit like that. In perfect conditions, sometimes it dies. And so do we give it up on it? Do we go, no, it's too painful? No, we plant more seeds. We plant more seeds and we harvest more because as human beings, we are predisposed to it. As human beings, we want to connect. We want to be linked in with other people. That's just part of the human condition. Love is amazing. There's times when I've wanted to love people and they didn't want me to love them. Think adult children, ladies. When my kids have gone through stages and they've rejected the love that I want to give to them. They've told me to get stuffed. I care about you. You're too much of this. You're not enough of that. You don't do this. You don't do that. And I don't give up on love. I go, well, I've got this whole bucket full of love to give to my child, and my child doesn't want the love I'm offering. What am I going to do? And so I look around and I go, those two little cuties next door, the two boys who live next door to me, they love engaging with me. They laugh with me and joke with me, and we build stuff together. The youngest was here when I was putting the ranunculus in the garden, and he was like, "Can I help?" And I thought, this is going to take me 4 times longer than it needs to, because yes, of course he can help. Why wouldn't I let him help? Let me just turn off my heating. I'm getting a bit warm. Why wouldn't I let him help? He wants to help, and so I have all this love inside of me to give. And there's this little human going, "Give it to me," and I'm like, "Yep, it's all yours, buddy. Come on." and I taught him how to tickle the roots of the plant when they were root bound, and I taught him how to put them in the ground properly, and all the things. So I get it. It can be scary losing love. It can be really scary, but it's like a plant. It wants to keep growing. The seeds want to grow. So you've got to find a way to plant it. And I guess that's where resilience comes in, right? It's about going, I'm going to keep going. It's worth it. I'm worth it. I'm worth it. And so what do? Maybe we go into a season of fallow. Maybe we pull back a bit and we don't grow something for a little while and let the soil just rejuvenate and get back. Maybe we only add things like leaves or mulch, or we put on a good layer of compost. And maybe that's all the self love stuff we've got to do. Man, maybe what we have to do is really take care of ourselves, really look after ourselves and have that time of fallow before we plant more seeds of love. And it does hurt, but it's worth it. I teach women how to love themselves. I teach them how to take better care of themselves so that they can have seasons of blooms and joy and big harvests. And yeah, when the season's winter and it's freezing cold and life feels like a bag of shit, then I remind them that manure is important in a garden. Even that, even the manure is really important, to make your garden grow effectively. So yeah, you're right. There's risks in it all. Cafe au lait is my favorite dinner plate size flower. Yeah, those are huge, Kimmy. They're huge. I love roses, but I don't have luck with flowers. And honestly, Sarah, I used to believe that. I didn't think I would ever get a flower to grow. I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of flowers in my garden. Don't give up. Keep trying until something does grow. I knew then I would plant self-love. Yeah, yeah, because that's still love, right? Self-love is love. Self-love is love. That's not necessarily love for others, but it's love for ourselves. It's a kindness to ourselves. It's the gentleness to ourselves, which brings me to question number 2, you gorgeous lot. What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for to get things started? The perfect conditions before you get things started. And I think, Mana, when you talk about love and you flip that and you go, well, I don't feel comfortable right now trying to love somebody else. So maybe what I need to do right now is the love that I do have has to be for me. Those are the perfect conditions for self-love. When we are heartbroken, devastated, when relationships end, or when our kids turn around and say, hey, I don't like you anymore for no reason or some reason. Maybe, it's the time when we've lost a job, or we've lost a friend, or we've lost a parent, they've passed away, or God forbid they've got Alzheimer's or Parkinson's or something else where we lose them in different kinds of ways, So what perfect conditions are you waiting for before you start? I'll never trust again unless, what's the unless in your life, or the until, or the when, what perfect conditions are you waiting for before you start things? For me, this last 2 years has taught me about there are no perfect conditions. My house has been a hot mess, renovating for 2 years, over 2 years now. And, it's been exhausting and overwhelming and distressing, on top of things like losing family members. We've lost 2 parents, which has been hard. We've, I've had issues with my adult kids, which has been really hard. We have had issues around, leaving entire communities and moving quite a way away from where we used to live. So the conditions have changed quite dramatically. And so the garden that brings me joy and peace and solace and rewards me for my efforts often, but not always. I still planted stuff. The garlic this year. Gosh, garlic, another one that's elusive. I've tried garlic. I think this would be year number 6 for garlic. And every year I do all the things. Maybe I'll put them in the fridge and try and pretend and stratify them and make them cold. Australia doesn't get cold enough where I live. Maybe I'll soak them. Maybe I'll buy them at this season or that season. Maybe I'll get the very specific. And I've done everything. So this year I was like, will I bother putting garlic in the garden? It's such a waste. I get nothing. But I can't help myself. I thought it doesn't matter. Give it a go. Got some more. Did what it said on the packet, put them in the middle of the bed because I'm like, they probably won't grow, so I don't want to give too much space for them. And blow me down. The bloody garlic has grown this year. Not all of it. That's the other thing. Perfect conditions. Every single clove of garlic was The same thing happened for each and every clove. And they all went in the middle of a garlic in the garden, and they all had the same start. And yet, some look robust and huge. Some look like they're just a waste of time. They look like spring onions, and I won't know until I dig them out, right? But the perfect conditions were not there. I just had conditions and I had to work with them. I had to go, okay, what am I going to do with them? I planted them, and I won't know. That's the other thing with root vegetables, right? You don't know until you dig them out. So the garlic went in the ground, I think in April, maybe April. It's August. It's August. I pull them out, I think, the end of this month, beginning of next month. I think that's when I pull them out. I'm not going to know until then. So, what sort of things in your life do you wait for the perfect conditions before you start? Think about starting where you are. Think about what can you do in spite of the conditions. The garlic went in the apples. The apples. The apples will have a home this year, hopefully. I haven't put my grapes out, and then I thought they were all dead. But I get onto the internet and it's like, no, they're supposed to look like that in winter. So again, they've had shocking conditions. Grapes in a pot. They're supposed to go in the ground. They're supposed to be trestled. Mine were just leaning all over whatever vegetable was close to hand. Not perfect conditions, trust me. Just conditions, and crossing my fingers and going, I hope they continue to grow. And I'm hoping they will. They've got 2 leaders on them, so fingers crossed. You know what I mean? Judy, you're tired of waiting. I never comes. I am just doing whatever I want now, whenever I want to. And I guess that brings me to the next thing, is about nurturing yourself wherever you are. What can you nurture now just for the sake of it? Um, Manu's comment about self-love, when we fall into a heap because the world has turned upside down. And self-love is always something that is worth doing. Taking care of ourselves, getting more resilient, getting more tenacious, showing up for ourselves, believing in ourselves, trusting in ourselves, learning more skills. What am I going to learn in this season? What am I open to? What am I willing to find out about? What am I willing to try, even if it doesn't work? Instead of waiting, going, I'm just going to have a go. If I hadn't planted out the ranunculus again last year, then at the beginning of this year, then I'd have no blooms in spring. And there's no guarantee. They could have just rotted out like they did last year. Mind you, saying that, the rain is having a good go at getting rid of them when I put them in the garden. I've got 3 of the beds that are okay. But the main bed that is specifically for the ranunculus is having the devil's own job. Like the water keeps coming and washing stuff away. So I'm going to go out there this morning and have a look, because we've had more rain overnight. And, the garden bed that I put in, it's all being washed away by the rain because it's a bit too high, I think. So I may have to go and do some adjustments to the ranunculus bed today, as it goes, to try and get the conditions a little bit better. Yeah, garlic does take 8 to 10 months. It really does take a long time. And you've got to just be willing. So tell me, I'm keen to know from you. You're all sitting and listening. What perfect conditions do you wait for? What do you tell yourself? What story do you tell? When I feel better, when when I lose 20 kilos, when I go to the gym and get fit, when I don't feel so anxious or overwhelmed. What perfect conditions are you waiting for? And what can you nurture just for the sake of it? I'll do this regardless of how much I weigh, regardless of how I'm feeling right now, regardless of, I'm going to have a go. So let me know in the comments. I am really keen to know. And of course, if you're coming on the replay, I do come back and read all the comments. Just to let you know what's going on in the channel, so while I'm waiting for people to comment. So what have I been up to? I have been recording like a crazy woman. Yes, I have. So I'm recording 2 series at the moment. I've got 4 series that I'm working on. I have one that is about, that process when a long-term relationship ends and some of the fallout from that and how to move through that. And of course, you can always go to my store and purchase my Surviving Long-Term Relationships Ending if you are needing something immediately that kind of gives you lots and lots of help and guidance of how to get through that. I'm also doing a series on affairs at the moment, after the affair, and talking about a lot of things people don't talk about, when you find out what happens in the close aftermath of that, how to move through that, and how to decide how the heck you move forward. I'm doing another series about being a single mom and what that is like at different stages and ages. And I'm doing a series about being a middle-aged woman, which I'm excited to do. I'm excited to do a series on being a woman in transition. Because a lot of you are, a lot of you also, your relationships might have ended, your partner might have had an affair, your kids are growing up, your nest might be getting empty, and you may be going through menopause. So we're going to talk about that. So if you're keen to hear about those subjects, do come along and subscribe to my channel. The subscription button is usually somewhere down here. And I put videos up here for you to watch. So if you have watched a video and you are keen to continue watching, I usually put extra videos up on my screen for you to watch after you've watched this. But you can also go and take a look at my playlists and get some information. If women are interested in self-love and want that as a topic, I am really happy to do a series rather on self-love. Let me know in the comments. Let me know. Speaking of comments, let me see what you're saying in the comments. Judy, been waiting to lose weight for years and just finally with your help, thank you, darling, just gonna go for it now and love myself for me. And I think that's right, Julie. Julie, waiting until I've lost the weight. For those women who know me, and some of my members are here, I was talking about there's a beautiful pink top and a pair of pants online that I saw that were just exquisitely beautiful. Things that I would never buy for myself ever. I think I'm a bit too heavy. I'm a bit too tall. They're kind of boho, whimsical things. And I just thought, gosh, that they're never going to look right on me. And I bought them. I just thought, to hell with it. Why not? Why not? They look so beautiful and I just want them. So why not? And so, yeah, starting where you are, whether you need to lose 10, 20, 30, 40 kilos or not, like in this moment, like live and enjoy and be happy in this moment, regardless. And if you want to lose weight, great, have that as a goal, but still be in this moment, still embrace this moment, enjoy this moment, be where you are. Ken, meeting people with genuine integrity, money, better health, self-confidence, those are things, right? Meeting people. Here's the thing, people don't knock at our doors and go, hi, how you going? Thought I'd come and meet you. We have to get out and about. We have to put in a bit of effort. And that can be really intimidating, really overwhelming, a bit scary, So things that we can go, okay, I'm going to do it regardless. I'm going to do it in spite of the fact that my knees are knocking. And better health, what does that look like for me? As many of you know who know me, I grow my garden so that I have the very best produce I can have, organic, beautiful tasting food. My garden produces a lot of food and I share that with my neighbors. I'm going to put up a little garden stand. I don't know how it's going to go, but again, I want to do it. I have an abundance and I want to share the abundance. So for me, health and being well is about growing a very, very abundant garden and using every single scrap of food from my garden. Nothing goes to waste, not a single solitary thing. I've just started planting out my sunflowers to plant. So in the front of my house, I have a huge piece of land at the front, 63 meters long. And last year, because I couldn't grow what I wanted, where I wanted, so I plant where I am. I grew a lot of sunflowers in that earth last year, and the street was alight with the sunflower joy. People were tooting their horns as they went past. People would pull down their windows and shout, "I love the sunflowers!" And so this year, I'm going to plant even more. And when the sunflower dies, it gives me a lot of material to put back into the earth. But the beautiful birds come, and I get the joy of watching, and as I have the last couple of days, the yellows and greens and reds and blues and turquoises. In Australia, we have these amazing bloody parrots that just take your breath away. They're so beautiful, and they come to eat the sunflower seed. So they eat the seed, and then they redistribute some of the seed so that next year, up come the sunflowers again. So there's that gorgeous cycle that is just beautiful. So yeah, health is important. And for me, health is also about that stuff, what I'm ingesting, not just from the garden, but looking out at the sun, watching the birds, enjoying the whales going up for their migration. All of those things are good for my health, mental health and physical health, really important. Anita, my darling, I will say that I will start being healthy, work out tomorrow, etc. Then by lunchtime, I'm over being my healthy self. How do I encourage myself to make real changes in my life? Anita, gorgeous question. If anybody has questions, pop them in for me. I think the important part of this is not about doing something big. I think it's about doing something teeny, weeny, tiny and having a win. So instead of saying, I'm going to be healthy and do a workout, can you march on the spot for 3 minutes? And can you do that every single day at 10 o'clock in the morning? Can you sit in your chair and do a couple of stretches, but do them every single day, maybe after work? Can you stand up every hour and do 10 jumper jacks? Can you walk around your garden 3 times when you finish work? Do you know what I mean? We don't have to move to something huge. We want to build small, tiny, manageable steps that help us, right, succeed. So if I can every day at 10 o'clock get up and march on the spot for 5 minutes, and I can do that for a week, I'm building a muscle that says, I get up at 10 o'clock every day and I march on the spot for 5 minutes. Then maybe I'm going to go to 7 minutes or 10 minutes. And maybe I then decide that actually I'll go out for a walk, and maybe I'll go out for a walk at lunchtime, or maybe I'll go out for a walk in the afternoon or evening. It's building the muscle. Often in our culture, we go for some massive, massive goal. And then we fall short. And so we give up. I'm going on a diet. So I'm eating lettuce for the next forever. And by lunchtime, we scoff down the cake because we're like, I'm feeling miserable. I want a cake. Well, that isn't the end. Maybe I have a piece of cake. And then maybe what I do is I go, you know what, I've had some cake. What I might do is have a salad for dinner. Or maybe I will find a sweet treat that's a bit smaller that I can have and not feel bad about it. Maybe I'll have a couple of little bits of chocolate that kind of satisfy me, but also help me to keep going. Calorie deficit is really about a week journey. In a week, what have I eaten? And again, not depriving ourselves, because deprivation does not help you win. You know, Reminding yourself that it's okay to have some treats. It's perfectly okay. What are you doing? If your goal is to lose weight and to be healthy, what am I doing towards that? It doesn't take a lot, believe it or not, it doesn't. Swapping things out in my garden, because we've got a garden theme this week. I have peas, snow peas, snap peas, mange too, which the English call them. Just sweet, sweet peas. They're so sweet. When I go in my garden and have a couple of those, gosh, they taste like joy. They taste like joy. They're so sweet and delicious. My carrots from my garden, so delicious. I have berries in the yard. Berries are gorgeous to eat, and a little pop of sunshine in your mouth. I grow bananas. Bananas are deliciously sweet, and you can do so many things with those. So it's about looking at, how do I swap things out? You know what I mean? So let's see. Next question here. I've got to catch up now. Okay, Telia. Would you be doing anything about your partner coming out as gay? And I wouldn't, Telia. And that doesn't mean I can't answer the question. I wouldn't be happy to do the question. It's that you know, it's something very specific that very few women go through, although some do, and it's very painful, and very challenging. And I guess what I'd suggest is think of some of the questions you want to ask me about that, and come and ask me in the chats that I do here on YouTube. I think when a partner leaves us, there is always feelings of abandonment and rejection and all of the things. But when a partner says, "Actually, I'm gay," there is added things to that. You can't. First of all, you can't compete with that, because if their preference is somebody of the same gender as them, then that is really hard. The betrayal can feel really hard. There can be layers of shame or guilt on top of that. Who do you tell? Should you tell anybody? How do you feel when people find out? Like, the layers are so um, nuanced and deep and different. And I think, that might be something helpful to sort of see somebody one-on-one. And as you know, I do offer one-on-one sessions. If people are wanting to have a private discussion with me, you can hit me up in the comments for my schedule link, and I'll give that to you. I'm more than happy to do that. So sometimes some of the topics are broad, but if you have specific questions you want to ask me, I'm happy to try and tackle them in here. Let me see what's going on. And I will be opening up a membership on YouTube. I am going to be offering some other things. In my store, there'll be things that you can grab. So please do keep coming in and having a look at what I've got. And of course, you can always hit me up in the comments for something specific. Kim, I'm using a free app. That's nice. It's a good idea. And I think, again, apps can be great to help manage, to motivate you, to help you manage to sort of get on top of things. I'm a list writer from way back. Having a list for me is so helpful. I really enjoy having the opportunity to sort of tick things off. So anything that works for you, and apps can be fantastic for that. They really can. Um, yeah, yeah. Anything at all that helps you to kind of get into the rhythm and do what you need to do, I think is a good idea. Anything at all is a good idea. Okay, my darling ones, is there any questions or any comments left for me? If there is, pop them into the comments right now. If you come on the replay, you can still comment, and I look at everything. I'm really happy to do that. I'd love you to help me out if you would like to. It would bring me a lot of joy. To help me grow my channel, and by all you have to do to help me grow the channel is share my videos with people. Hit the subscribe button if you want to subscribe, and the notification bell, and that will tell you when I'm coming on live and when I've got new videos that I'm doing. You can come and participate in chats with me that I do every single Thursday, and find out information around, long-term relationships ending, being, a mature woman, and what that can mean for all of us in lots of different ways. How to cope after an affair. So there's a lot going on my channel, and of course my poetry. And I really encourage you to go have a look at some of my poetry. So I write a poem and post it usually on a Sunday with a little music and a little soft, gentle video behind it. So if you're looking for some inspiration and something that kind of soothes your heart, so vast majority of my poems are about life, about my lived experience, about being a single mum, about being a mum to grown kids, about being a partner that sometimes struggles, about being single, about being middle-aged and going through menopause. So the list goes on and on and on and on. Those poems are also inspired by my members who talk to me about things like loneliness and self-love and how to move forward when devastating things happen to them. So really encourage you to go have a look at my poetry list there. If you can't find it, let me know, and I will direct you to the right playlist for that. Is there any comments or any questions before I finish up today? If not, that's not a problem. I'll be back next week, same time, same place. And I would love you to come and join me. This season for me has been interesting. This year has been an interesting, a very interesting challenge, as I go through a season of change and fallow, where I am trying to work out what is the very next right steps for me, for my work. What am I going to do and how am I going to do it? And what does it look like? And I am a bit lost, and I'm really leaning into that and trying very hard to remind myself that it's okay. It's okay not to know what the next right move is. It's okay for me to sit and just lean and go, I'm just trying to work it out. And it's okay if I don't have an answer right now. It's okay if it feels a bit too hard right now. It's okay for me to just try my best and show up for myself, regardless, just try and show up for myself. So thank you so much for joining me. Absolutely loved seeing you. Same time next week if you'd like to come and join me. And like I said, please do try and help me with my channel. Subscription to the channel is free. Hitting the notification bell is free. Coming live and listening is free. So you can't get better value than that, can you, girls? All right, my darlings. I will see you all next week. Take the best care of yourselves. Find something joyful. Find something super joyful in your life that helps you through some of the interesting seasons you are in. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you again next week. Bye.